The film begins 30 years in the past, showing a young Jack O'Malley at a family Christmas gathering. He takes his cousins upstairs to reveal that their gifts were given by their parents, not Santa Claus. Jack's Uncle Rick soon follows him upstairs to reprimand him for his actions. Fast forward to the present day, Jack has become an expert tracker. He cleverly bypasses security at a mall by creating a diversion, setting a Christmas tree ablaze and sneaking inside to plant a device. To top it off, he even steals candy from a baby. At the mall, Santa, also known as Red One, is busy with his annual duties alongside his top bodyguard Callum Drift, who leads the ELF at the North Pole. As he surveys the bustling shoppers, Santa feels a wave of disgust at their greed and rudeness during the holiday season. As he is observing this, a family comes up to Santa to offer him some cookies. Shortly after, a social media influencer arrives at Santa's location, going live and making video with Santa. However, Callum steps in to handle an irritating wannabe influencer who tries to interrupt the family's cherished moment with Santa. It's clear that everyone acknowledges this is the real Santa, but Callum remains committed to his role, prioritizing Santa's safety above all else. After this, Callum and Santa exit the mall accompanied by additional security guards and make their way to the spot where Santa's reindeer are waiting. Santa then hops on his sleigh, and with the reindeer, he and Callum takes off into the sky heading to North Pole. Meanwhile, Jack is in his apartment, watching a boxing match when he gets a call from a mysterious employer. He speaks with this enigmatic figure, who pays him half of the initially promised amount and assures him that the rest will come once they have located the person they need Jack to track. Back at the North Pole, Callum and Santa arrive, passing through a magical force field that keeps them hidden. Mrs. Claus greets them, and Callum had a meaningful talk with Santa. During their conversation, Callum admits that he is thinking about resigning from his job because he has lost trust in the festive spirit. He also shares that he loves all the kids he's ever met, but he feels disheartened because people no longer respect the holidays, and it seems like everyone is becoming more naughty than nice. Santa tries to comfort him, insisting that the magic of Christmas is still very much alive. Meanwhile, a team of mercenaries breaks through the force field. Callum notices the lights in Santa's tower flickering and informs other security guards, but they do not respond. He rushes to investigate. When he reaches Santa's room, he finds it empty. Santa is missing. Callum spots the kidnappers and jumps on a snowmobile to follow them across the cold landscape, but he can't catch up before they flee with Santa. Shortly thereafter, Zoe Harlow, director of MORA, the Mythological Oversight and Restoration Authority, contacts the North Pole. After learning of the kidnapping, she informs Callum that they would want the assistance of an experienced tracker, known as the Wolf. With only 24 hours till Christmas Eve, the race to save Santa starts. Meanwhile, Jack gets a call from his ex, Olivia, telling him that their kid, Dylan, getting into trouble at school. Dylan attempted to hack the school's PA system and was caught after a friend reported him. Jack then goes to pick up Dylan and chastises Dylan for his lack of expertise in carrying out the act, rather than for the deed itself. Dylan explains that he has a show that night, but says it doesn't matter if Jack goes. Jack regrets not being more present in Dylan's life. When Jack returns to his apartment, he is ambushed by mercenaries from the North Pole. He manages to fend them off at first, but Zoe eventually subdues him and takes him to the North Pole. He faces Callum and a giant polar bear bodyguard named Garcia, who informs him that he is a level 4 naughty lister. Jack tries to explain that he was hired for tracking, but had no idea what the job involved or who he was tracking. He soon discovers that Santa has been kidnapped, which he thinks absurd. But Zoe reveals that all mythological characters previously assumed to be imaginary are in fact real, as shown by the appearance of the Headless Horseman. Meanwhile, Santa wakes up in a cell and meets his captor, a young woman. She connects Santa to a machine that uses his energy to fuel her weapon, a magical snow globe prison known as a Glaskafig. Callum and Jack are compelled to work together to rescue Santa and save Christmas. They begin their quest by passing through a portal in a toy store and grab some toys, magically enlarging a toy car to serve as their vehicle. Their adventure leads them to Aruba, where they track down Ted, the man who arranged Jack's agreement with the villain. After Callum utilizes his shrinking and growing abilities to defeat Ted's mans, they confront him and discover that Gryla, the Christmas witch, is the true enemy. When Jack accidentally says her name, which Gryla can hear every time it's said, she uses Ted to communicate with Callum, threatening to punish everyone on Santa's naughty list. Moments later, an ice cream truck emerges from the ocean. 3 gigantic, monstrous snowmen come out and go after Jack and Callum. The two try to fight them, but they keep reassembling themselves. Callum knocks the carrot nose off the first one, destroying it. Jack tosses a propane tank onto an open grill and hurls a bottle of liquor to cause an explosion that obliterates the second one, and Jack trap in a pool. Before the third one can trap Jack in a frozen pool, Callum removes that one's nose too, destroying it also. Unfortunately, Ted has been frozen and cannot currently provide more information. Zoe meets with the guys, and Callum suggests that Santa's estranged brother is working with Gryla, and that Mora does not have the jurisdiction to go to the brothers' lair, but Callum and Jack will go in secretly. Grilla tries to use the Glaskafig on a guy named Aaron Abel, who, after receiving the globe, ends up getting stuck inside it when he touches it. Grilla, however, gets frustrated when the globe doesn't come back to her, prompting her to rethink her strategy. Jack receives a call from Olivia, who scolds him for not making plans to attend Dylan's concert. He then talks about Dylan with Callum, admitting that he hasn't always been the greatest father to him. The two arrive at the lair of Santa's brother, who happens to be none other than Krampus. Jack accidentally alerts Krampus and his goons to their presence when Jack tries to take a piece of gold from the lair. They are imprisoned before being brought to meet with Krampus. Callum tries to explain the situation to Krampus and tell him that his brother needs him. Krampus doesn't care and plans to keep Callum as a prisoner until Jack challenges Krampus to play Krampus Schlap with Callum, which involves enduring a powerful slap from Krampus. Callum keeps trying to appeal to Krampus's better nature, but Krampus just slaps Callum so hard that he goes flying. Before Callum goes again, Jack activates an arm brace on Callum that lets him deliver a huge smack to Krampus, allowing Jack and Callum to run. Callum then praises Jack for his good idea. When the two return to their car, they discover a package from Gryla addressed to Jack, but he refuses to open it. Jack then receives a video call from Dylan, who is upset that he did not attend the concert and was left with his own parcel containing the Glaskafig. Dylan touches it and is teleported. Jack has no choice but to grab his own globe and follow Dylan, while Callum must go find them. Jack and Dylan wind up at Gryla's lair, where she gloats about how well the Glaskafigs function. Following their departure, Jack apologizes to Dylan for being a lousy father. Dylan forgives Jack, and Jack's ability to improve his naughty status allows them to grow and break out of the globes. Zoe had placed a tracker on Jack earlier, so Callum discovers that he and Dylan are at the North Pole, indicating that Gryla never took Santa from there. They also discover that Gryla's henchmen, who can shapeshift, have taken control of the North Pole, posing as Mrs. Klaus and other guards. Callum finds Jack and Dylan, and together they team up with Zoe, realizing that Gryla intends to use Santa to pilot his sleigh, allowing her to deliver globes worldwide and imprison anyone she considers naughty. The heroes hurry to thwart her plans after rescuing Mrs. Klaus, Garcia, and the others. Grilla begins her journey out of the North Pole, but Callum and Jack catch up with the sleigh. They fight as they cross a ramp, and Jack manages to free the reindeer from the sleigh, forcing it to stop flying and knock Grilla off the edge. Callum attempts to awaken Santa, but Gryla re-emerges as a massive and horrible ogre. She prepared to assault the heroes when Krampus appears in his own sleigh and offers his assistance. Krampus fights back, but Grilla throws him around. Santa regains consciousness and orders his reindeer to attack Gryla, punching her into the air until she falls into her pile of globes, effectively trapping her inside. One Zoe later takes her into custody. Everyone scrambles to get Santa ready for his duties. Callum, Jack, and Dylan accompany him as they travel the world, witnessing Santa deliver gifts and bringing joy to children worldwide. Callum watches Jack and Dylan bond, and for a brief moment, he sees Jack's inner kid. This is enough for Santa to notice that Callum has changed his mind about retiring. Santa then flies them home,